I guarantee that if you follow these instructions, this technique and this formula that I'm about to lay out for you, you're going to manifest and create some really amazing things to come into your life. And when I've used this in the past, this technique, I had things that came to me within hours. But first, the moment that everyone's been waiting for, my book is now launched on Audible. Now you can get the Audible version of my book, You Are the Way, to manifest all of your desires to come to you. It's got all of my testimonials in there, everything that you can find that'll break down the law of assumption, and you can get this where it's actually being read to you on Audible. And you can find this link in the description below. It's the very, very first link in the description to go ahead and try this out absolutely free. So this technique I like to call Nevilleizing your desires, and it's actually using this with scripting. So you're going to be writing this out, but you're also going to meditate on the feeling of already having it. So it's a real live event that you're going to play out in your imagination, and you're actually doing something within the simulation and writing it out. So then you're feeling it, and then you're meditating on what you're feeling. But I'm going to break this down in detail to get you that next level. And when I've used this, I had 80% of everything that I wrote down came true in my life. And with Neville Goddard, this is the law of assumption. This is the law of assumption. But Neville Goddard never went into techniques where you actually write it out. You're not writing down your wishes as already being complete. But with this process, the very first thing that you do is you write out what you want, because the first element is being specific, finding something that you desire. What is it? Do you want to, you got to think about it. What is it? Do you want to make $200,000 in sales this month? Do you want to have a new relationship this month? So if you're thinking, I want to make $5,000 in sales, bump it up. Don't be afraid of leveling yourself up and really getting out of your comfort zone here when you're coming up with these desires of what you want. So if it's 5,000 that pops up in your mind, make it 50. Don't limit yourself, because we're living in a simulation and you can truly have whatever you want as long as you're in that natural state of already having it. The acceptance of the end. Feeling is the secret. The acceptance of the end, the relief of already having it with that emotion attached to it. So now the first thing you need to do is get a piece of paper and you write down what you want to do, be, or have. So you need to get really specific with this. What is the number that you want? So in this case, we're going to use the example, I want to make $200,000 in sales this month or this year, or $1 million in sale this year. So you're going to come up with this number. And as soon as you write that out, you write that down, I want to make $200,000 in sales this month, okay? And then I want you to meditate on the feeling of already accomplishing this. So if you don't have a piece of paper, you can say this out loud. Like if you're in your car and you're driving, you can say it out loud just like this. I want to make $200,000 in sales this month, or $1 million. I want to make $1 million in sales this year. And as soon as you have written this out, or you've scripted it out loud, saying it out loud, I want you to contemplate and really feel and take in the ownership that this has already happened. I want you to meditate on that feeling, how wonderful this would be had this already happened. Now, the second step of this is to write out exactly how this makes you feel. Now that it's already accomplished, how do you feel now that you've already made the $200,000 in sales this month? I want you to write down specifically the thoughts that come to you and how that would make you feel if it already happened. So you're writing this out and you're feeling this to be true right now. And if you, of course, again, if you don't have a piece of paper, you can say it out loud. Like something like this, you would say this out loud. I feel so wonderful and successful and happy now that I've already achieved everything that I desire, or this $200,000 in sales. It's done. It's finished. I feel so tremendous in the present moment right now because I've made my $200,000 in sales, or I've accomplished this goal that I've been set out to accomplish my entire life, and now it's completed. So you're writing this out, or you're saying it out loud. And you really only need to do this one time. When I did this, I got such powerful feelings in the present moment from this, and I was so excited and emotional, but I was also feeling natural of the acceptance of the end. And I only did this once, and I had so many things come true Some of them took a long time to come true, and they kind of unfolded in different ways where this kind of came to me magically, and they were attracted to me, and it was kind of strange the way they came, but I know there's no coincidences. But some of the things came to me within a couple hours. Like they started manifesting and showing signs and the fruition of the larger things happening. And it was leading me towards things where I wasn't really seeking anything. I was attracting it to come to me from the feelings that I had. It put a smile on my face, maybe more positive. It gave me more motivation to walk through certain doors to where I was meeting certain people, doing certain things that were connecting me to the right people, to the right situations, and ultimately leading me to my end result of what I had written down and what I felt to be true. And the reason why I said 80% came true is because really 100% came true. But I say 80% because the things that I manifested were just a tiny bit different at the end. Each and every thing was just a little bit different. But I mean, the main subject of each and individual thing that I was wanting to manifest came true, but they were just a little bit different here and there. That's why I say 80%. But really, ultimately, it was 100%, but they were just a little bit different. And the reason why some of the things took a while for me to manifest is because I was actually doing this while I was imprisoned. I got all these books and different techniques and was coming up with all these different ideas and was just really focused on inner development of my imagination and creating an entirely new life for myself for when I got out and just really getting down to the fundamentals. So the reason why some of the things took a long time is because I was still incarcerated. I needed to take certain steps to get myself to that next level where I could actually accept the fruition of my manifestations, like becoming the new version of myself. I had to become the new version of myself before I could get the things that I needed to manifest, but I felt myself being this person. So then I had to go through certain things in order to develop my concept of self and raise my concept of self. And some of that stuff was very difficult, and there was a lot of obstacles and a lot of things that I had to do that made me very uncomfortable. But getting out of my comfort zone really leveled me up, and I was able to peel more layers of consciousness off in order to raise my state of being, in order to change my concept of self. And those things needed to happen in order for me to get those things. So when you start using these techniques of manifestation, sometimes they'll lead you to other techniques of manifestation because you're really peeling off layers of consciousness as you go. You may do one technique and it doesn't come true, but it leads you to another technique that actually brings it into fruition, or it leads you to something else, or a person, or a situation, or something. It'll do something that leads you inevitably to your end goal or your manifestation. So don't think it's just one technique. One technique may lead you to another technique, which may lead you to another technique, but ultimately you'll be led to the end result as you go. As long as you don't stop and you continue to develop yourself inwardly using your imagination, your feeling states, and being present, using present moment awareness, slowing time down and developing your attention to hold it on one subject for long periods of time. So essentially what I'm saying is it's very important to start manifestation, the law of assumption. It's very important to start learning, start mastering the school of thought of the law of assumption, but it's more important not to stop. Once you start, you need to continue because you're going to keep on developing this skill. It's like learning a new language, okay? You're learning a new language that you weren't taught when you were a child, because when you're a child, it's very easy to learn a language in a school of thought. But now it can be a little bit more difficult. But as you continue to develop and learn more about the law of assumption, you're using it day to day. You're not reacting. You know you're living in a simulation. You know what's going on. You know what's creating your world. And you know it's all based on your concept of self and what you're assuming to be true of your world. And as you keep going, you develop this skill, and eventually you can control it. You can learn to manipulate and control everything that's happening and lead yourself to your end goal, your state of fruition, your goals already being completed. Anything you want to manifest, once you've mastered the school of thought, you can attain. You can get it. And remember, with this technique that I went over, the Nevilleizing your goal in this video, it's more powerful if you do it before sleep. like right before sleep, if you do this technique. I mean, you can do it anytime throughout the day, but as we know, you get closer to a state of relaxation where the analytical mind isn't present quite as much when you're in alpha state, and that's when the subconscious can be more easily impressed. So if you want to do this technique before you go to sleep at night, you're going to have the best results. But I mean, if you want to do it throughout the day too, that is perfect. And there is no number that you can put on how many times you should do it, or if you should do it 1 time or 100 times. You do it if it makes you feel good, because it's creating feeling states, and it's mastering the law of the school of thought. You're mastering the school of thought the more that you do this, and you're creating this new version of yourself. So I'm not going to put a number on how many times you should do this. Just do it if it makes you feel good and if it's leading you towards your wish fulfilled, which it absolutely is. And don't forget that You Are the Way, my book, is now available on Audible, and you can try it absolutely free. And that link is in the description. It's the very first link. So if you want to have the Audible version of my book, where I have all of my testimonials and break down the law of assumption in every single way possible, and have every single technique just put into one book and then teach you everything you need to know about the law of assumption, you can get it right here, and you can try it absolutely free.